Hey, yo, what it do? It's your boy Rue, and welcome to Reality. Hey, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Reality Season 2, Episode Numero 2. And I have a special guest here. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Well,
Your name, what do you do, where you from, what it is.
well, I am Angel Gomez. I am from Lawrence, Massachusetts, but currently in New York City. Poet, spoken
We
word.
had to get the police sirens in the back so it felt like home.
I kind of feel like I'm back in Washington Heights right now, but that's okay. There we go. Momentarily.
We're in the middle of a storm. Also, there's that.
You know, we're doing what we got to do. It's okay. Listen, try to do a self-tape in New York. It's just not happening. Literally, I have to rent a studio to do a self-tape because in Washington Heights, 180th.
Oh, a self what?
Self-tape.
For auditioning?
Yeah, so when you're
Got
auditioning,
it.
you know how they
Yeah.
ask you to film yourself? I can't do it at my house. You know how many times I've been like mad into the monologue
Do you think-
and a siren goes off?
I was about to go into it. Let's not. Let's get right into our first section and just see how you are doing. How are you? Let us know. And don't give me no generic, I'm good.
Well, we're here to talk, right?
We're here to talk.
Okay, so
And they're here to listen, baby.
so I am good. We could be great, but I'm working towards great, pretty much. Like
Progress.
yeah, and I have to. You always tell yourself to be kind to yourself, and I'm kind of like really in that bag right now, but also being honest with myself, and just really trying to get to a better place in my life by setting these goals for myself and really trying to hit them, and
not waiting till January 1st.
Oh, I already started on 2023 on 11/29 when I dropped this book.
2020. He meant 2022.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
No.
Anywho, nah, man, I just been working and again, like I just released this book and I just can't wait to, continue on to 2023 and push it and this is a labor of love and it was a lot in this book. It shows you of the times that I wasn't good and I wasn't great and trying to tackle through all those things to get to where I am now where I'm good, but I'm working towards great, but the brighter side of all those things is that I can actually see great. There was a time when I was like, can I go there? Did it pass me by? Did the time of my life already happen? Like, all those things. So, but I am good now. I do feel like I've taken care of my mental health and I've taken care of myself.
As you should.
I'm working on myself.
That's great. I love that. I love everything you said. I mean, I know you personally, so knowing you from a few years ago to seeing where you are now, you should be proud of yourself. And definitely, I love that you can see your growth. And I think that's a pretty amazing thing. Not a lot of people take time to acknowledge that. So,
well, there was a time where it's like, even if I was growing, I didn't acknowledge it. I was too caught up on what's next, or what am I not doing.
and there's a poem about that in this book.
There's a couple, I think. Because I was constantly going through that. And when you go through the book, you'll see that some of the subject matters might be repeated, but it's because they kept happening.
It's a constant
It's a constant thing. Like, it's like you don't learn your lessons right away. You could be told that is bad, and you know that it's bad. But sometimes, unfortunately, I guess the human thing that you gotta keep, I don't know, and like there's a lot of things that I kept doing that was not good for me, and like I would know, like your intuition does not effing lie. Can I swear?
Yeah.
Oh, does not
This
fucking
is America.
lie. Your intuition does not fucking lie.
There's only 3,000 million people out there. I know that
Listen.
number order was incorrect.
We all getting all numbers messed up today, but it's okay. You get us.
And
Math
it's been
was never
threes.
my subject.
It's
English
been
was.
threes. Let's dive into the book in a little bit. I want to go right into the next section, which is our media headlines, and talk a little bit about pop culture. I definitely want to dive into the Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez case and how that's kind of everywhere. The blogs are making it seem like Tory is gonna come out innocent. The details that have came out, I read somewhere about how the other girl, when I don't even know her name, so Kelsey, I think it's Kelsey, something like that. How she might have been the one that shot first, and all of these things, and I'm just like, at this point, I want it to be over. At the end of the day, a black woman was shot, and I think that that's what we need to focus on. I think that Megan Thee Stallion, no matter what was happening inside that car or at that party, any of that warranted her getting shot in the end. No matter how heated it got. I know that the hairstylist came out, whatever, and he was talking about, or they were talking about, basically like how they were just trying to tell Megan, like, let's leave before anything escalated. Listen to your friends when they tell you to leave because it's time to get. Okay. And that was, hearing that and seeing his little press conference outside of the court.
You talking about the stylist?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. And
with the Law and Order music on TikTok.
He posted the drawing of him in court. People thought that he was like, I don't know, making a mockery out of that for him doing that. But
and then he read Rolling Ray for Filth.
Which I didn't keep up with it that much. Like I don't know what was happening. I know of it because honestly, it's like I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. It's like the Krishan and Blueface.
Yep.
It's everywhere, and I literally, no shade to you guys. Everybody respected in their own right, but I really don't want to see it, and I literally don't follow anything that is in that regard besides the Shade Room. But I don't really go on it like that.
And the Shade Room is the worst. Let it go in 2023. Let it go.
I let go of one, but I
only follow Hollywood Unlocked because they actually do actual reporting.
It's funny.
And B. Scott.
Oh shit, B. Scott! I forgot about.
I love B. Scott, and their podcast is amazing. So shameless plug. Put you guys on.
I used to do the grapejuice.net. Anybody know?
Oh, I still listen to that Grape Juice. I mean, I still go there.
I even submitted to be an intern. Like, what happened? You guys didn't reply back to me. I'm just saying. Like, I did. I was like, can I write for y'all? And they never got back to me.
What do you have to bring up?
In regards to
media headlines.
Oh, well, can I talk about social media?
Go for it.
Like I was just saying, the climate that we're in right now when it comes to social media, and just feel it, the overexposure, the feeling that you need to film everything. And granted, now we have these devices that literally you don't even sometimes need a high quality camera. You can do so many things with it. So it's okay if you want to get creative and do all those things and do skits here and there and pranks and all that in good fun. But I just feel like it's gotten to a point where, like, what is real? What is real? And that goes in many different ways, including whether it be artistry and the overexposure of that, and feeling like, for me as an artist, I feel like I do these things every day, but I don't feel like I have to post them every day. But then again, you were talking about it being maybe two different.
Yeah, I think that it comes from two different perspectives. I think that, when you're coming from for me here in a smaller city, just putting myself out there is a lot more important because I don't have access to a lot of things as maybe somebody like yourself has access to in New York with auditions and stuff like that. Out here, it's like we have to push ourselves onto that platform, right? And I think there's people who want to be content creators, and I'm all for it because I think that, we're steering away from television. And we're relying
it's crazy
more.
How social media has become our television.
But I love that because, like, we were paying, hundreds of dollars for cable television and we weren't even really watching. And now we get it for free. And it's, like, more entertaining than what was being put on television. So it's like I feel like there's a shift. There's a shift happening. And I think that I could see the negatives and I can see the positives. The negatives definitely comes with, like, a lot of people put so much pressure on themselves that they get depressed. A lot of artists can't keep up because what they're doing is way different from social media, right? I feel like sometimes that idea gets construed and it's like, it becomes this whole like, oh, like you were saying, I'm doing this day to day, and then people are just going online and posting content.
Which, again, I want to clarify. I'm not throwing any shade at that. I watch it. I enjoy it. I just feel like we're in this climate where if you don't post it, you're not doing it, or you're not this.
Yeah.
And as an artist, you're always told that, like, if the first thing people do is like, I get it. Your Instagram is like your resume now, which granted, I keep up with it, and I have stuff up there where like it shows you like what I got going on. But sometimes I go months without posting because I'm in my bag and I'm trying to figure that out. But then people was like, that's not good, because then you lose your momentum and you're not posting every day.
Well, I wouldn't listen to those people. I would say it's absolutely okay to take social media breaks, whether that be a week, a month, a year. Your mental health is the most important part. Whether people tell you that's not good, that's bad, that's this. There's this facade, and I guess this is what you're kind of referring to, of just like people who are posting just to post, or posting to make it look like they're busy, or like they're doing this and that. And it's like, we know you ain't busy, sis. We got it. Like, relax. And I feel like I battled with that a few years ago, of just like always trying to keep up and post. And then I told myself, like, when I look at my social media, is this something that I'm even proud to put out there, right? Because we're putting so many things out there that are like all these people who are just like on TikTok and like half nude. And I'm like, yes, it's great to look at, but in a few years, are you going to feel comfortable with putting that out there?
That's a whole other topic over there. But no, like, and
Twitter.
Well, Twitter is crazy. I don't even use Twitter like that, and that's
I archive a lot of my stuff,
new world.
and I batch delete a lot of my stuff. And Instagram has been deleting my stories. I don't know what's going on. It wasn't even loading yesterday. It's so annoying.
I had a couple issues with that.
They're probably dropping a new update.
Sometimes they want to give me the automatic captions. Sometimes they don't. So and why don't you guys translate in Spanish? I don't get it. Why, when I post my poetry, like when I try to get like the automated text, when it comes to the English, sometimes I don't get problems.
Yeah.
But when it comes to English, it's like they never translate it. What
Yeah,
about
they
the
need
people
to.
in
They
other
don't,
countries?
because they don't pick up on the. They don't pick up on the. Where's Nina when you need her? The pronunciation of your words. So like some people will post videos and then I'm like always capping, because I'm like, yo, read your captions, and you can edit your captions. Like before you post, read your captions, double tap it, and edit to the correct word, because it's going to make up words for you. It's a generator.
Oh, it's done that for me.
But people
like,
don't,
you know, like,
see that idea. You get it, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't.
No, and the thing is, but this goes to like who I am as a person. I overanalyze everything. That's just who I am. Like, I overthink shit a lot. So when it comes to, that's why a lot of the stuff that I do,
artist and you're sensitive about your shit.
Yes. But that's why also, like what we were talking about earlier, shit stays in my draft a lot. There's a lot of choreography I've made up, a lot of poems I've made up, a lot of, I don't know, skits I might have done. Draft. That's why and it's just because I'm like, what I post is for it to stay there. So I don't want to put something out that I'm like, I don't know, or just to post it,
But do you think that that's also speaking to your second guessing of yourself, or
for
of your
that's
craft?
part of it.
You know,
it's both. It's all.
I respect a draft king, you know, because sometimes I see things with myself included, and I'm just like for me, I'm like, why did you post? Like, what are you? Let me switch it to only me to be visible, because you don't need to be showing people all that. That looks crazy.
Yeah.
So sometimes I do see things and I'm just like, that could have been like, we would have been good without that, you know? But I think that people are just right now trying to overshare, right? But I think a lot of people are trying to find their voice, and you can see it a lot in the ways that they're posting, the content that they're sharing. I think that a lot of people are also trying to get out of that 9 to 5 and do that social media. Did the camera stop recording with that light flick? The power might go out. That part. But yeah, so I totally lost my train of thought because I went into panic mode. But I think that with social media, a lot of people are trying to shift from that 9 to 5 mentality and get onto social media, and they think it's so easy and I could just get followers and this and that. What I don't like to see is when people make a fool of themselves and you're just like, that's not who you are.
Or just like, for example, like I'm seeing like the pranks that people are doing. Some pranks are funny.
The pranks, I think, are planned.
No. Oh, that too. Yes, I've realized there's a lot of people that know each other. Even the people, like, I'm not saying...
Like Chupapi Muñeño.
Or
all his videos are planned.
Who's that?
Chupapi is like this famous TikToker, and he goes and like does random things at Walmart or something, and he'll like throw something and then hide himself in a teddy bear. It's funny.
That looks.
It's entertaining, but
Is he the same one that's like yelling like, "Oh, like yeah, right," and then acts like he doesn't do it?
I don't know.
Because I've seen that one.
He's every video. He's always like chupapi,
On
chupapi
no. This other one like literally like says things that like if you were to say that to me, like it's like what are you talking?
Oh, I think I know who
what
you're
I'm saying?
talking about.
But that goes to with the point I'm trying to make, where sometimes it's like, when do you realize it's just not funny and it could be dangerous?
Because I think that it's planned, right? Because like anybody can sue you if you post them without their consent, whether it's social media or not. You know, and it's like when you see them, you're like, I always try to look at the pranks and I'm like, this is planned. You can tell. You can just tell that they're acting. And sometimes the person receiving the prank will look at the camera. I'm like, okay.
That's why. Have you seen the memes
so
of like
you didn't know you were
the
there?
videographer in back of the pole? Like, yeah, you're so hiding. Like, yeah, you're right there, buddy. Like,
I also wanted to talk about my mind is still on that power trip right there, so I don't want the
trip on the
power to
power.
go out. But
got
anyways, did you have anything else that you wanted to bring up? You said you had something hidden that you didn't want to tell me about.
I guess, I mean, I wrote about it, so I would love to talk about it, which is, I guess you can call it gay love and the gay hookup culture. That world. And in the sense of like, I don't know, like, I tried the apps, I've done the apps, I've gone and off the apps, and I'm talking about all the apps, from the Tinders to the Grinders. I've done all of those, and
we stand the app king.
Not anymore, because honestly, like, some apps, I have them, and I kid you not, it's been months since I've even opened it, or if I open it, I look, and I'm like, never mind. And I'm not gonna lie, when I was younger, I was always on that shit, like, what's up, what's good? And now I'm just more like...
It's called growth and maturity.
That part.
I think that maybe you're shifting into a different mindset of.
But
just
then
like,
you know what that
that
also does, which it goes to my point of gay love and gay hookup culture or whatever. I didn't plan this, but I pretty much told myself, because you know we always had standards here, but there was always there was a time in my life where I was like, fuck it, I am feeling this way, I want to do this, right? And now
gay mental health.
And now more than ever, like in the last couple of years,
we got people on set, y'all.
You know,
being loud as hell because they can't stop eating.
No, you're good. It's all right. But now more than ever, like, it's like you take a moment to reflect on the energy and what makes sense. And that's what was going on with me, where it was like, now I'm just like, I'm good. And because I say that I'm good, it goes months to like a year of me not doing shit. Mm-hmm. And not that I don't have options, not that I don't have people hitting me up, but I'm more and more like, no, is it gonna, I don't want half-ass shit. I don't want
you're
okay.
Growing, you're maturing.
But I don't want okay shit. So now I'm like, if that's gonna be okay or I'm not sure, never mind. And that shit turned into like 7 months of nothing. And I'm like, shit, that's crazy. Like, for other people, I know my friend, I'm not gonna say who has been abstinent for like, oh my God, a long time. and you would
a
think,
long time. Babes, get late.
But that person is okay with it. Like, that makes
as you should
that
be.
Makes sense.
As you should be.
That makes sense for them. And for me, I'm not saying here that I was having sex every week, but I was having sex
every week.
No. Stupid. No. But then for it to turn into months to a year is like, oh shit. I
think it happens, and I think you're in a phase right now where you're just like, I'm busy. I don't have time for this.
Even if that means I just want to smoke a blunt and watch a movie, I'm busy.
Yeah. That's busy. Self-care. That is busy. That is a task. That is important.
So to end my point with that, I bring that up because, yeah, you know, we go through that stuff. But then also, this is just real shit. It makes it harder to find real love or real connection.
Real love doesn't exist in the gay world. I've officially confirmed the title on that.
No me diga eso.
Real love. Well, let me just say this. First of all, you live in New York. Real love doesn't exist in the gay world in New York, baby.
He's talking to someone that's
I'm
been
just
single
saying.
for like a decade, okay?
I'm just.
You don't believe me? Yeah, I've been single for a decade, bitch.
I've tried it. I've done it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work out here. It doesn't work in places where people just.
It doesn't work. Listen,
that,
fuck the New York,
time.
fuck the everything. It just doesn't work for people that are not ready. I'm a very big believer in, you know how people be like, oh, I want to finish each other, like whatever. Like, no, I need you to fulfill what you got to fulfill. It doesn't mean you need to be complete, but it needs to be, you need to show about yourself. And like, for example, right now is the most time I've ever spent by myself. And again, that's where I was able to do the most.
This is maturity.
Self-reflection and all those things. And just really be in my bag. And with that, just align with things better. And because of that, it just turned into like me just respecting my whole overall energy, which is something I've been preaching forever. But again, to my point from earlier, it doesn't happen overnight. You have to keep until it gets to a point where you
want to change like that. You can't, you can't just change like that overnight. Something like that has to take time. I've been there, man. When I lived in New York, I went through a phase where I was, it was dry. It was drier than the Sahara Desert down there, baby. But at the same time, I wasn't
choice, right?
I wasn't looking for it. I mean, living in where I was living, it was easily accessible. But
which is why I think he was trying to say earlier that living in New York, why he's saying gay love doesn't exist in New York is because, again, New York itself is a melting pot. So just imagine that with everything, and that means people and things and all those things.
Yeah, and I think that even like out here as well is just like holding myself back from just sleeping around and having that follow me, and that works for some people, and I love that. I love that.
What do you mean follow me?
Like that reputation follow you.
Got it.
This is a small city. Everybody kind of knows each other. I don't, I also work with youth. I don't want that image portrayed upon me. But I know people who, they're having active sex all the time. And I'm like, yo, go for it. Like, definitely go for it because
I know people that have this shit twice in one day. And I'm like, how the fuck?
I don't know how.
I'm trying to eat.
I don't know how.
Sorry.
You can laugh. You can do that.
I'm trying to eat
you
today.
Can do that.
Like, what the hell? Like, hold on.
I'm trying to eat. It's giving douche.
I can't just do yogurt every day. Like, how do people do that?
That's how you so skinny.
Well, listen, I'm eating better now, which is crazy because I heard the better you take care of yourself, the easier is everything else.
I believe that because, I think the more that I think water helps.
Oh, for sure.
Water definitely helps. And not just inserting, but like just drinking it like a normal human, like you were meant to.
It flushes things out better, but also your skin, your
I'm a firm believer in water. I try to drink a gallon of water a day. I never have to worry about those type of situations.
When they say you are what you eat, that is very true.
Well, baby, the fuck am I? Just kidding.
No, but it goes to what you're talking.
It's giving chicken tender.
What I mean by that is like how your body thinks. So again, drinking more water, eating more fruits, eating more protein bars instead of fucking chocolate chips. Trust me.
When I first started my meal prep journey and everything, like my skin was glowing, everything, and I want to get back to that. Like I miss getting those compliments of like, girl, you look like you glowing. Like my mom was telling me I was like taking vitamins. Like I was on this pure health kick of just like, I was overall happy. You ever just eat something and then automatically right after you're just like miserable, like, oh.
But you know what's crazy? To that, this last year and a half is the most that I've ever been like. I've been going to the gym forever, but like this last year and a half.
I just started.
Bitch, you've done it before, but you've been consistent, and that's.
And I just been. I was good after the pandemic. I lost it, and then I went, mental health. I went crazy and started partying and drinking and all of this.
But also going to the gym, you're literally working on your body, and sometimes you're not always motivated to do that. And that's real shit. I have to fight demons this morning. I will tell you, again, this last year and a half is the most dedicated that I've really been. Where I'm at the point where if I don't go to the gym for like 2 days, I'm like, "What are you doing? You're a slob." And I always wanted to have this mentality.
But lose that negative mentality because it's okay, right? Look at that self-talk. What are you doing? You're a slob. What's wrong with being a slob right now? Like,
no.
Like,
that's
enjoy
okay.
in being a slob.
But I'm okay. Yes, I've learned the difference of like today I deserve my lazy Sunday, or today you're just being lazy to be lazy when you got the energy. That's what I mean. Maybe that came off a little harsh, but what I mean is that it's like I've gotten my body into a routine where even the whole like every night doing my skincare and
but you started that journey a long time ago.
But I wasn't.
I remember
consistent.
Actually, no, you started that journey this year because I remember you were hanging with a group of people.
It was 2020.
That were on that same journey, that were eating clean. You guys traveled, and like you were glowing. You
Adventure
were at
Boys
that,
was good.
Yeah, you were at that glowing. that was aggressive right there. Okay, I like that.
You know, well, we did a lot of hiking.
I liked that you were surrounded around men, and it wasn't in a sexual environment. It was just boys being boys. And I was like, when I saw you posting all the time about that, I was like, yo, I love that. I want a group of friends like that just are gonna.
Which is crazy because I never thought that would happen. Like, yes, I had gay male friends.
It's different when you're just friends with people who maybe don't share the same journey as you, but share the same vision of just like, I want to do these things. Oh, cool, let's do it.
But also, like, I guess, I don't know if this is the right thing. Like, I guess when it comes to like anatomy also, to share the same something, you know, in relation with that. And it's like, it just felt like for once there wasn't like this brick wall or this like, or am I no, it was just like, this is my bro. Like, and I love, and to this day, I'm still friends with those guys. Those guys are the ones that set up my birthday. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are my people. You know what I'm saying? They're supporting me. And, like, one of them, I call him my manager because he's always hitting me up like, you should have done this. Or you need to do this like that. And I love that. Like, you need people like that. And, like, again, all my life, I grew up around a lot of girlfriends and some gay male friends. And I love you. But it's different when you have it from a
it's also different when you're friends with people when you have a solid group of friends with people outside of your city. Outside of, you know, where you grew up and, you know, to have that experience, to have that different view on life, everybody can chime in and you can learn a lot from that as well.
2020 was a life-changing year for me.
As it was for everybody.
Yeah. No, but that's why, I know it sounds cliche because, again, the pandemic, but that did a lot of things for me in more ways than one. And, you know, like, that's definitely what got me in my headspace of, like...
I don't know about y'all, but I missed the pandemic.
I wouldn't say I missed the pandemic.
I just missed not working.
I mean, you can say that. I missed not working. I don't miss it because that was
collecting
crazy.
a check.
But that's what gave you... you literally had all this time now. You're finally getting paid to just sit your ass at home. What are you going to do with it? And that's when I don't get me wrong, I had my first couple of months of just watching movies, chilling, doing nothing. And that's when it clicked. I'm like, baby boy, what are you doing? This is the time you asked for. What are you doing?
Child, okay. Let's put a pin in that. That's like, that needs a whole different episode right there. That's a Sofrito Speaks episode. Let's go right into what you're here for. So let's dive into a little bit about your early journey in Lawrence with poetry and with everything else. You also do acting. You also do dancing, choreographing. So let's talk a little bit about that. What was life like for you growing up in Lawrence? Share what that journey was.
So crazy because my mother, since we came from Puerto Rico, she's lived in Lawrence. But there was a moment in time where I lived with my father up until like 7th grade. And then ending of 7th grade, I moved to Lawrence with my mother again. And I went to South Lawrence East. Anybody South Lawrence East? What's up? What's good? Ay. So I went to South Lawrence East. And I was in a boring ass town with my father. Like, it was very like, nothing was going on. Like, the YMCA was the only thing we had, you know? There was really not, and even then, I didn't know what I wanted because growing up as a boy, you're told you need to play sports. You need to do this. I couldn't dribble a ball to save my life. You know, I just can't. I sucked. And like, I couldn't help but move. I couldn't help. I remember that's when I was like also writing stuff and I was just like coming up with random things. I thought I could sing. And I was like coming up with songs and like coming up with things. And I was like,
let's hear a note.
But
just kidding.
A veces llega la... No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. But anyways, so I always wanted to do that. But in the hometown that I was in, there was only so much I could do.
Yeah.
But when I moved to Lawrence, it's funny how people talk down on Lawrence so much because I will never forget in 8th grade. Actually, Kiyomi, if you watch this, in 8th grade, I'll never forget, you invited me to Movement City to a dance class. And I remember I was like, what is that? Like, I've always wanted to dance, but I don't know, like, whatever. And oh my God, it was crazy. But it introduced me to a whole other world where I didn't have an outlet before. And like, from there, I started dancing. And again, I was not the best. People let me know that I wasn't the best.
One thing about Lawrence, baby.
People
let me
know.
We gonna do it.
But baby, check me out. No, I'm kidding. But I grew into it, and I just the thing with me that I was told is that I didn't give up. I kept pushing. Like, I love this shit. Like, I love it. I don't care if you tell me that I suck. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going.
You were a dancing little
yo.
Every time we chilled.
But honestly, like, how do I say this? Like, writing has always been the main thing in the back of my head, including acting. But I was too nervous to do that. So dance, pretty much, once I started getting better as a dancer, that's what gave me the courage to be on stage and actually start speaking.
Discipline, yeah.
Yeah, and with that, that's when I started like, okay, like these poetry that I used to only show to like my friends randomly, I was like, maybe I should perform it, but I never did. And it wasn't until college where like my college people, Urban Arts Theater was good. I was very much like, I was like, oh, I have this poem, but like, I don't know, because I went going through this thing with my ex, and I wrote this, and they're like, yo, you should perform that at the open mic coming up. And I'm like, nah, I never perform. Like, I don't do that. Like, I'm too shy for that shit. Mind you, I knew the piece.
The angel now and the angel then, baby.
That's crazy. Because you know what's crazy? I was dancing in Lawrence, I was doing all these things, but then when you went to college is when things get real, and it's like, you can't be a dancer, that's not a real career. You get all these things in your head, right? Sure. So I was like,
I don't like that.
So I was like there, but I thank Urban Arts Theater because a lot of people there that are here from Lawrence as well, they were like, yo, like, nah, let's do this art thing. And that gave me the confidence, seeing other poets do their thing. I was introduced to what really spoken word was. Like, I always knew poetry, rapping, singing. Like, yeah, we know that stuff. But to hear other people...
We saw it on the TV.
We saw it on the TV. But, like, to hear actually people combine their voices with no instruments, just, like, do that. And the storytelling, I was like, I want to do that. Like, that's how I want to express myself. So, like, them pushing me on there on that stage at a random open mic, they would just, like, just go for it. And me doing it and then hearing people's reactions, like, to this day, you know what's crazy? I can forget a lot of shit. Like, we did that? Mm-hmm. I don't remember that. Oh, we were here this day. Remember? I'm like, we were? Like, I'll forget. No, but you know what's crazy? I won't forget. I won't forget a poem. If I remember a monologue, I won't forget it. I still remember freedom writers that I did a monologue for. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I be forgetting shit. But like, when it comes to that, like, I would never forget the moment where I performed my piece, and there was a certain moment where, like, literally somebody was hitting the table, like, "Oh shit," and I was like, "Oh, it's good."
It was an important. It was a validation moment for you,
and that's what made me to keep going. And anyways, just to cut that short, like, once I graduated college and I did theater in college, and I finally did a play, and I did all those things, and I finally got the confidence. I ended up minoring in theater arts in school, but majoring in communications. And then I decided, like, okay, what am I doing after this? Like, I'm like, I love to communicate. I love to talk to people. But at the end of the day, I'm an artist. Like, that's what I want to do. Like, it's like I could do anything else I want to do in life. They say, like, oh, you could be good at many things. Mm-hmm. But what is the thing that you feel like really if you can break down any society walls, any bullshit, what is the one thing you know that you can deliver this world? I'm like, I'm a storyteller. That's what I love to do. I love to tell stories. I love to express myself with that. I can't help it. I be randomly humming some random shit. I be randomly dancing something. Like, it's who I am. So I was like, that's why I decided to move to New York. And then I was like, let me try it. Like they say, if you can't make it here, like, where can you make it?
That's in the book as well.
But that's real because I really felt that. And the thing that I love about New York is that as many chances, which I wrote about this too, as many chances as it gives you to opportunity, it gives you to fuck up, but then it gives you for you to pick yourself up again. Mm-hmm. And that's what I feel, and correct me if I'm wrong, in places like Lawrence is sometimes you feel like, damn, if I fuck up 2, 3, 4 times, I think that I might be reaching my expiration. Like, it's like, what else can I do? Because sometimes you feel like the opportunities are only so much. And that's why, like, what to your point, when it comes to New York, there's so much stuff going on that, yeah, you could shit it on yourself right now, but you still got a chance to do something. Like, there's still opportunity. There's somebody that you don't even know you at all. Like, you can change something right now. Like, they always say you're a block away from a different life. So it's like,
I never heard that one.
well, listen,
I
I've
like
learned that.
I like that.
Like, I've learned that, and it's like I've seen people that I was like, oh my god, like, and I'm very big on, I'm very, like, I guess you can call it, like, I don't know, dramatic in that sense, where, like, I'm the type to look up and be like, I don't know, try to find some inspiration in the trees or some shit. Like, it's just like, that's just how I do
had a friend like that.
That's why sometimes when I like smoke, people random why I exhale to the sky, bitch. I'm in my spirit. Like, I'm just like in it. Like, I'm really in it. So it's like, anyways, New York is, it's
so wait. Before we got to New York, you were out here, you were doing the dancing, and then, you know, you started with the poetry in Salem State. Or at Salem State, sorry.
Well, I've been writing since 5th grade, but taking it serious at Salem State, yeah.
Okay, so when you were younger, though, you weren't sharing your poems?
Only to, like, close friends.
Okay.
Like, I'll be like, oh, I wrote this, like, in a notebook, literally. And I'll be like, oh, I wrote this. What do you think about this?
So that first moment when you shared it with at the open mic, what was your thought process like when you were going on stage? What was yourself telling yourself?
Oh, my God, you're taking me back? Like, damn. Because I remember, like, just to give you context, it was my version of Marvin's Room. I heard JoJo do her version, and at that time, I was going through some crap. Like, pretty much me and my ex were literally no more. After trying it, like, 3-4 times, it was like, okay, we're definitely done. And, you know, in the song, it's like, fuck that new boy. And I kind of just, like, I just wrote my own version of how I felt because he was already on to the next. And I'm over here, like, and I was like, shit. I felt like Nikki at that video. She'd be crazy. Nikki, get out of here. Get out of here. That was not even like. Anyways,
bad bitch one time.
I dare you, Bambi. Okay, I'm done. No. So, anyways, like, I was going through it, and he was already on to the next. So I wrote my version of Marvin's Room, and like I was telling you, I read it to my people on campus, and I already knew it because it was already something I really felt. Like, I would never forget. I was like that person that lived on campus, was still working in Lawrence. So, like, on the weekends, I was driving to work at AT&T.
Back and forth.
Oh my God, that was like,
oh my God,
whatever.
AT&T. I remember when you were there. Yeah.
And that was like a whole thing. We thought that was corporate America, whatever that was. But anyways, I pulled over. I remember pulling over. I already heard the song, but I kept listening to it on my way back to Salem State from working the weekend. And I remember I literally pulled over because the ideas just came, and I wrote the pieces. Like, I felt this, what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So I remember, like, them telling me to perform it. I still was unsure about it, but they said just go for it. And I remember I literally had it written on a piece of paper because I hadn't memorized it. I knew it, but I didn't memorize it. And I had like 2 pieces of paper, my ugly ass chicken scratch, and I'm over here like, okay, she's gonna just freaking say it. I don't remember everything that I was feeling, but I remember because it was like a hall, like literally a performance hall, and then like a hallway in all the rooms in the school. And I remember being in the hallway, like right on the other side of the stage, and like going like kind of back and forth, kind of like reading it. I remember that.
And your nerves are running.
But I was like almost like a back and forth situation by myself. Nobody was in that hallway, but it wasn't a dark hallway. But I was still like, okay, like I'm really like, oh shit, like whatever. Like, you know, I've never even done. Are we good?
Yes, be careful with your foot though.
Yeah, I've never even done theater, any of that nature, like yet. And I was like, okay, fuck it. And I remember doing it, like I told you earlier. I remember people hitting the table and people like, oh shit. And it was because I said, they say from sour things, sweeter things will come. But I bet you still remember the sweetness of my on the tip of your tongue. Okay. And like, I remember people being like, oh shit, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh shit, people like,
girl, you need to stay still.
We're live, papa. We're live. He's taking us out to eat after this. I hope he knows that. So anyways.
Not the time.
Yeah, and again, that was just it was a reassurance feeling because I've always wanted to do that. And again, like, again, since I was little, I was always doing this. I was like impersonating Mark Anthony at Christmas parties when I was younger. Like I don't remember what the song was, but I was like in my heart, like in my, like literally my family would watch me like trying to mimic a Mark Anthony. I don't know what song it was. If I hear it, I know. And it was not like Vivi La Vida. And it wasn't Ahora Quien. So I'm trying to figure out which, whatever, it was a good one. But anyway, all of them were good. But
let's dive into your New York journey. So, you know, you finished Salem State. You did what you needed to do out here. You decided to move to New York. How did poetry play into your New York journey? Because I know that you went to New York for acting. And then out of nowhere, we're seeing more and more content from you from doing poetry. So how was that like? And when did you know that was the decision of just like, I need to hone in on this right now? This is what I'm...
So I went into New York like, I'm gonna do it all because I like to and I can. That's how I felt. Again, with dancing, with acting, with poetry, it was always the three. I wasn't sure how I was gonna go about it yet. I was just like, okay, I know eventually I want to write a book, and I know that I want to do events and I want to get myself out there. And also, I started off as writing songs, even though I couldn't sing. I was writing songs. The goal, even if you hear it in my poetry, my poetry can kind of sound like music. And it's because even to this day, that's a goal of mine. I want to be a songwriter. I want to write for other people. So like, that was always the goal, like eventually figure that out. People are going to hear my poetry and be like, ooh, I want him to write for me. So like, I was always trying to figure that way out, but that was like almost like a side thing, even though that's the thing that I wrote on inspiration. And you know, New York inspires you every day. So I was writing on the train every day. Most of my poems, that's why that's the book cover, because most of my poems were written on the train. Like 97% of my poems were written on the train. It's like, it's my moment. You have no internet, you have no nothing. And yeah, you can go every 5 seconds, but I was just like, it was my moment. Like, I was traveling so much, doing so much. And that's when I was like, my moment of peace. So that was always happening. You weren't always seeing it, but it was always happening. But acting and dancing were the two main things. Because, you know, those are the things that we can just take a class. We can shoot a video real quick. We can do all these things. So I was always like doing, auditioning, classes, all these things. But then, to be honest, I did an audition for this agency. And I'll never, for dancing. And I'll never forget. Like, I literally, like, they taught, like, most of the dance with no music at first in the audition. And I remember feeling like my brain was going to explode, my limbs were going to fall off, and the room getting less and less crowded. More people were leaving.
Cattle calls.
And I just felt like, and I went from, like, being in the middle to making myself to the back. And I was just like, it's to the point that, like, I was trying to keep up, and I was just like, yo, like, can I dance?
You get so like disheveled because you're like, I'm not used to this. Like, you haven't been under that pressure before. And I can absolutely relate. Like, I've been to auditions like that I'm just like walking confident, and then 20 minutes in, you're like, I don't know what the fuck. Why the fuck did I walk up in here? But
that's the day that changed everything for me, because it didn't take away my love for dance. Always a dancer. I was dancing, I don't know, 5 minutes ago. Always a dancer. But it let me know that I'm not trying to pursue the dance industry. That's a whole different ballgame. If you ask me, can you dance? Yeah, well, yeah, I can dance. But am I pursuing the industry? Am I every day trying to get into a music video audition, get into an agency as a dancer? No, because I've realized, you got to realize your strong suits. I'm not saying here that I can't dance, but I got to realize that that's a whole different level, a whole different situation over there, and a whole different level of talent.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, again, I can dance, but you have to realize you're strong. So I'm like, doesn't make sense.
Not the avenue
and I need to put the energies in the right places. So I knew that I was a good poet, and I know that I'm a good actor, but I felt like, even till this day, the world has yet to see what I can do as an actor. And that's because myself and life and all those things. So then I was trying to hone in on it and trying to figure out how I was going to do this. So when the pandemic happened, even before the pandemic, I was already figuring out like, okay, what am I doing? How am I gonna get to where I want to get? So a lot of my friends were like, yo, like no one can do what you do when it comes to poetry. Like you have this flow. You're even I even got a hit up from a teacher of telling me like, hey, like the way you flow into the Spanish and the whatever, like that's your bag. Like that's what you're doing. Like you gotta realize what you're good at.
Your niche.
Yeah, and like I was like, word, because I've always wanted to do this, especially because a lot of people look at me and sometimes don't see Hispanic because people are not educated and they automatically assume like they think you're not Hispanic. So I always wanted to show that. But anyway,
well, you're not Hispanic.
Oh, sorry.
You're Latino.
See, that's the thing. That we're taught all these different. I'm Puerto Rican motherfucker de pura cepa. Lo dejo ahí.
Latino.
Because y'all know what I'm trying to say. Because in reality, it's like we're taught so many different things that it's like
we were taught wrong. We were taught
by white people. Even when it comes to Latinx, you know what I'm saying? So people have their own feelings of that.
Let's not dive into that. No.
I'm not saying anything bad about it.
I don't want to get canceled. I'm going to get canceled.
You can edit. No, I'm kidding. It's not about getting canceled because I really want to have an open dialogue. Not today, but I want to have an open dialogue really about that because I even think even when I read about it, I need to be more educated on it. That's why I said Hispanic right now. I need to be more educated on it because I'm so used to.
And own that, yeah. I love that.
I can own that. Like, that's just true shit.
I had to learn. It was a learning curve.
Same here. Even using the right pronouns, you have to learn. And again, you have to know, like, also know that you're human and maybe you're going to mess up. But the person might know when you're not trying to, you're really trying to learn and educate yourself. So anyways, with that being said, I started, when 2020 happened, like, it was a moment that I really had to, like, everything was literally put on pause. And, like, a lot of the questions were happening where it was like, how can you really do this? You know what I'm saying? And like I started questioning myself, my artistry, what I can do. And I was like, I really haven't done everything that I could possibly do to really go there and to give up. Like, how dare I give up if I haven't done everything I can? And if I love this shit as much as I do, which is why I told myself I've always wanted to write a book, but realistically, I still want to pursue acting. So it's not that I can't do both, but I told myself
But you gotta focus on one thing, for a little while.
There goes my point. I told myself, right now, focus on this book. It's something you always wanted to write, and right now you have the time, so you need to focus on it and really do it. So that's what I started to do, and I put all my acting stuff on pause. I stopped my casting networks, my actors' asses. I stopped pursuing acting auditions. I stopped all of that. I loved it, and trust me, I was seeing my people do their thing, and I was like, oh, I miss acting so much. Am I still watching movies and interviews and still taking that in? Learning. Of course, on my own shit. But like realistically, I couldn't be learning scripts and trying to write a poetry book. It's just like, for me, it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
So like I had to figure that out. And I thought that was going to take a year. It turned into 3. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it'd be like that.
I really thought like, okay, for a year, I'm just not going to act anymore. I'm just going to focus on this. 3 years passed by. And trust me, I was itching. I'm still itching, to like go back and do this. And I'm going to, but it's like pasito.
Trust the process.
And I feel like now that the book is out, I'm still gonna find ways to promote it and do different things creatively with it. But I don't have to write it. It's already out. That part is already done.
It's right here.
So now I can simultaneously pursue 2 things,
Let's get right into this book right here. So, I started reading it. I mean, I only got to about page 32, but y'all know I'm not a reader, period.
But the good thing is that you can pick it up whenever you want.
That's what I told myself. It's poetry. I can pick it up at any point. So, but I love the cover. I love the A train. That's my favorite train. I love what you said in the back. In the beginning, there is your intro, which you actually worked into kind of like a poem itself.
Yeah, and that wasn't planned.
I liked that. I was like, that's really creative. The first few poems are about your journey from when you first started in New York. At least that's what I got. And then we start going into more of the not darker, but your relationship with people and like how things are how you're starting to notice things are changing. right? And so,
It's good because
like
this is the first time I'm hearing someone's perspective of it. So
that, I mean, again, I've only got to page 32,
I know,
but
but even you gathering that from that,
I
it's
was like, okay, so now I'm curious to see the journey to the end of the book. I'm obviously going to read to the end because that's what real friends do. But I wanted to ask you, was that intentional? Did you sit down and think of an outline and just be like, I wanted to go through this storyline? Or did you just compile these poems together and was just like, this is what makes sense right now?
so. I've been writing forever,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some old ass pieces in there. Some that I went back into my old emails and reworked and all those things. But when I sat down to write this book, I already had like I want to say like a good 10 pieces that I knew for sure were gonna be in there because I was like these are my solid pieces. People love these pieces. I'm gonna put them in there. But once that was done, I was like, okay, that's still not enough for a book. So I started challenging myself and just like what stuff you always wanted to write about. What stuff that you stop writing just which is great to write on inspiration and I still do that. But like I really wanted to challenge myself and give myself homework because I'm creating a project. So I have to give myself a time period and a time to do this. So I literally, because of the pandemic, we had the time.
Mm-hmm.
I will schedule myself realistically. I'll be like, okay, you're gonna wake up, have coffee, have your breakfast, do your thing. If you want to
There's a
smoke a
poem
joint,
called Cafecito.
yes, I love that poem. And like pretty much like set my mood. So like one day I wanted to write about politics because everything that I was seeing in the world, and I was like I want to put my perspective out. So I would like watch all these documentaries or all these interviews and try to educate
I love
myself,
that.
and then put people out there. Or if I was like for example, there's a piece that I've always wanted to write about my homosexual experience and also what I see people talk about and all those stuff like the bodega down the street from where I live at right now still thinks it's a choice. So that conversation. So all those things. So it's like I challenge myself to write about that. But also because poetry is therapeutic to me. So first I write for myself. Let me just make that clear. First is like this is what I'm feeling, this is how I want to express because a lot of the times I don't have these conversations with people. I have real conversations with people all the time, but there's certain things that you just don't say out loud or you don't know
Mm-hmm.
how to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you don't want to. It's something you don't even know how to.
That's kind of what I
So
got because, like, since I know you personally, I'm able to put together some of the pieces of just like, okay, this is what this is about. This is what he was thinking. And I love that. I think that, but I think even if somebody doesn't know you personally and picking up the book and reading it, or maybe it's a friend from your past, they'll be able to see what your journey's been like. And I think that's the most important part about this book is like seeing you put into words exactly what it's been like for you the past 10 to 12 years and like seeing you accomplish this like you really like it's a really big deal. You should really be proud of yourself. I think that it shows your creativity. It shows how talented you are, and I think that your flowers definitely need to be given. I definitely want to dive into this poem, and we're almost, we're touching almost the hour mark, but Mr. Misunderstood, and that one stuck out to me because like I felt like me and you have that connection. We have that same experience that you speak about in this poem, and it was interesting. It was just interesting to hear your side of it. I think that it was really from the heart. I think that you are someone who I personally know that is really misunderstood by a lot of people, right? Myself included for a while was just like I didn't know what this was like and what this relationship where it existed, but we're able to get to somewhere. And I think if people took more time to kind of dive into you and see like who you really are, maybe they'll be able to understand you a little bit more, right? And just hearing you say things, along the lines of, and this is not verbatim, but along the lines of just like, even by me showing you love, I'm still being perceived as selfish. And I was just like, oh my God, because for me, like I've been there. I've been, I'm showing people love, but the minute I talk about myself, it's like, oh, everything's about you. And it's like, what? Like, is that it? Right. But I think it's important to highlight that you were probably just giving your love and your selflessness to the wrong person. Right.
yes.
And I think with Misunderstood, I think towards the end, you've kind of understood that and you've come to terms with it, and then came detox, and it was literally like this vision that played out in my mind of just like, and then what you kept reciting.
He read the book.
Yeah,
he read
like
the
what
book.
you kept reciting in detox was just like, you know, these words that I was just like, yo, like he's literally like letting
That's
it
why
all
the
come
word
out.
diaries is in the name. Jungle because of New York, and it's a freaking jungle. But also diaries because these felt like journal entries.
Yeah.
To answer your question from earlier,
yeah.
because I realized we didn't answer it, I wrote this all out of order, and then I decided to put them in a certain order where it's like you can read them out of order, but it's still a journey because it is a journey, but it feels like pages of my diary because that's the way I wrote it.
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
But
Tell me what happens after detox. Where does it go through?
I'll be honest. I don't remember what goes after detox. But you can tell me.
I was hoping you would answer it because I didn't get past detox.
Bro, it's 207 pages.
It is.
No me acuerdo.
Okay. I mean,
but
I think I want to dive into.
If I may, can I take it back?
Go ahead.
What stood out to you the most about those two pieces?
I mean, I'm not being interviewed here, but
no. I'm just asking. No. I don't.
You will not get the tea from me. No.
No.
I think that, like I said, I think
brush it over.
I think I kind of already like summed it up. It's just knowing your experience and knowing what the inspiration that was behind this, you know, and sharing that experience with you through different, you know. Obviously, it's not the same situation through my lens of my perspective. I think that when I read it, it stuck out. It was just like, we're here, we got it, you know. And that connection automatically made me want to read Detox. And I was like, I just saw the title Detox, and I was just like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's getting into this, and then, so yeah.
That just reminded me. I'll never forget, which I love that you did that when you reached out to me when Huffin' and Puffin dropped. And like what you told me about
Yep.
Because that was another thing, which is how I felt. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, again, it all felt like a journey throughout this whole thing. And you asked what comes next. I don't know exactly what comes next, but I know that there's later on I write about my family and all of that. Because in my family, and this goes with Mr. Misunderstood, where it was like people perceive me as the strong one. I'm also the oldest. My mom had me at 15, so it was like we were both trying to figure out how to be adults. Yeah, so it was all of that happening. So love was not how I see with my friends or in the movies for me. It took a while to get there, you know what I'm saying, from family and stuff like that. So a lot of the time those conversations never happen. So when I set myself down, I mind you, there's always notes on my phone. But when I set myself down, I was like, okay, today you're finally going to write about your fucking childhood trauma. Because again, like I said, I first write for myself, and in order for me to put it out there, whether you know, if I'm not talking to a therapist or I'm not, you know, I can't talk to my siblings because they don't like to get that deep, you know, and with certain friends we can only talk about it so much. So it's like I felt the only way that I could be 1,000% honest, it's in my writing and painting those pictures.
But I think that's what gives you the best content. Is your honesty.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of stuff, mind you, you're fine.
The air is dry.
There's a lot of stuff in there that, I edited the crap out of things. There was stuff that was more detailed. There was stuff that was like, ooh, somebody might not like that. Yeah. So I took it out. Even down to, just to finish this, the piece is called Growing Pains, which is the piece that I wrote about my family tree when it comes to my mom, my brother, and my sister, and that relationship, and like feeling like, why can't, like, for example, like, you all right? You need some water?
The air is just like drying up. I'm gonna edit all that out.
Word. Word. But no, like the not understanding why I didn't have what I see other people have, and the big families and the big Christmas and all the time that I was always going to other family stuff for that. So like, and I wrote this piece with the hope that like they would read it back, and maybe in conversation that we don't have, they can finally understand what I see. Like when I tell my brother certain things and he'd be like, it's not a big deal. I'm like, do you see why I think it's a big deal? Let me paint the picture for you, literally, because
you're just trying to convey the message to them in a way that they can understand.
Yeah.
And you don't hurt anyone's feelings.
again, that's why I edited shit, because when I first was being, even, and this goes into the piece that I know that goes directly after Growing Pains, I believe, is Father's Day, which that's one of the toughest pieces I have in there, because I used to have a relationship with my father and I no longer do, and that happened like out of the blue. It just happened out of nowhere, because it went from him being in my life a lot, him being the only my mom's baby daddies being the only one that was present, to out of nowhere, like, there was a moment in time that I was living with him, right? And Fitchburg is considered cleaner or whatever than Lawrence, right? So to him, me moving over here was already like, what are you doing? Da da da. So there was already that perception. He didn't understand that I found myself here, you know? And with that, little by little, like, the relationship started kind of like, he started making more excuses and more things. And with him, he would be like, why don't you come live with me? You need to just be over here. And since I didn't want to do that, it was more like, okay, then, like, you know, and then little by little, he didn't realize he created this wall. And then it went into this thing where, like, he can only acknowledge what maybe I was doing wrong, but he could never be like, oh yeah, I should call you more, or yeah, I should.
A typical Latino dad.
I should figure these things out more, or, like, you know, they're quick to throw out the word malagradecido, but they don't realize how you got here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love.
Zoom in on this, please, Ruben, when you're editing.
like, listen, I would never, and that's why I write about in the piece, like, I don't remember verbatim about it, like, I will never take away everything you gave, but I don't take away everything you didn't do. You know what I'm saying? Because
Powerful.
that's how I
Powerful.
felt. I really felt that. I was like, because when I wrote this, and I hope one day he sees it. Till this day we haven't spoken. But when I wrote this, I was like, this went so long without us talking. And mind you, I did reach out at one point, but again, he wasn't seeing me or understanding my feelings, or feeling like my feelings were like, oh, come on, like, I went through worse type of thing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I respect that, but it's like, again, like, I don't know, I just felt like he could have done more. So again, I wrote this piece, and it was one of the most personal pieces that I have, and there's a lot of things that I edited out, because I also talk about my relationship with my stepmother, and I'm like, I want to be honest, but I don't want to offend her, you know, because at the end of the day, she's still the mother of my sisters, you know, and you know, the wife of my father. Like, I don't want to disrespect her, but I want to be honest is what I'm talking about, you know, with all those things. So I don't know, I feel like it's been like, bro, like, I've been in New York for 7 years, and even when I was in college, it's been like almost 10 years that me and my father, like, literally, like, you know what I'm saying?
I have a feeling that he's going to stumble across this, or at least your sisters will. And if they are watching, then put them on and have, you know, let this be
I
the
talk
start.
about all of that, even my relationship with them, because even that's tainted. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like the only way that they could understand me was by me writing that, because in conversation, it's just not, because I have tried calling them and telling them, hey, I'm so sorry that it's been so long that we haven't reached out to each other. I want to let you know there's not love lost. It's just time and the friction.
You have a life. You're a human.
You know what I'm saying?
Just because you don't have kids didn't mean that you didn't have a life.
And it didn't mean that I wasn't making mistakes too, and understand that. You know what I'm saying? If anything, that's when I needed the father to step up and be like, yo, what are you doing? What's going on? But instead, he kind of just like...
man. Well, if your father won't tell you, I will. I'm very proud of you. I want to wrap up here, but I do want you to talk about what is your next goal that you plan to work on in the next year?
Definitely want to put this book out there more, and in more ways than one, whether it be with visuals, whether it be with audio, with all these things, and events, the whole shebang. But also, like, I really want to see myself go there when it comes to poetry, whether it be slam, whether it be
slam poetry.
I'm trying. We coming. Like, I again.
There was like a show about that, or no?
Yeah, like, I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to put it out there and just, you know, really get people to see it. You know what I'm saying? And this, to me, like, why a book was so important is because it's a physical thing. It's something you can literally hold and have, even if you don't pick it up ever again. Like, it's something you have. You know what I'm saying? And again, like I said, I hope that this could be therapeutic for people like it was for me. So when you read it, like, you see all of that. But again, like, yes, I want to get back into my acting eventually or whatever, but the main goal right now is this book.
This is
money. I put a lot of work into that. And even to this day, I could probably find something to edit. But, like, I put it out. I hope people like it. And again, this is not about how many copies I sell, even though we want to sell. This is more about, one, is out. You know what I'm saying? And I already got enough of love and reassurance of like, and this is no, because again, people always take shit out of context. This is no me trying to toot my own horn. Like, I'm talented. And I have to say that without coming across any certain way.
Look in the camera and say that.
Why? I'm talented. It's just what it is. But I'm not trying to come across in any way. It's just, you know how many times I told myself that I wasn't? So it's just like, I had to. And even like I told you, I just did this show on Wednesday and I did Mi Isla, which is like a 4-year-old piece, but people still hearing it for the first time. And people are like, what the fuck?
I feel like people don't remember that, and people think, you know, going back to social media, like, just because I'm putting it out that people are expecting it. Like, I always remind people, and I, in a most humbling way, is like, no one's checking for you. Like, keep putting it out, keep promoting, keep 6 months down the road.
I agree.
Keep putting it out, because there's always somebody new that you can reach. You are not Beyonce. Like, if Beyonce drops it, she cannot re-release it, because we know no one's checking for you. Keep going with it.
Oh, and to answer your question, we're trying to get this in bookshelves, so we're working on that. We're trying to listen. I have plans. I have plans, and I have people that want to help me. So I just hope, and I'm gonna continue to put in the work. And like JoJo has a song where she says, which I love JoJo, Leave, Get Out, Find Out, where she says, you deserve a day outside your head. And I randomly, she's like humming that in my ear sometimes. I'm like, you deserve a day outside your head. Chill out. You got this. So with that is like, when I want to step into this new year, I will always be an overthinker. That's just part of who I am. But
learning to control that.
And I'm learning. You know what's crazy? Now more than ever, I'm still an overthinker, but now more than ever, I'm like, chill. You got this. You did this. Like, you put out a freaking bug. You know how many times you wanted to hit delete, like, and say never mind. You know, but you did that. And again, there's still so much more to do. So much more that I'm dreaming about. Things that I want to do. Like, and like you said, just because 100 people on my Instagram heard it, there's still how many people in this world? Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I'm gonna keep pushing. And again, bookshelves and audiobooks and ebooks and visuals and everything. And I just want to schools, book
I can't wait to see it come.
Everything.
I can't wait to see it come to life.
Con Dios por delante. Porque, like, as they say, lo que es pa ti es pa ti. I believe that. There's a lot of times where I felt like, oh, like, just to finish this up, is it over for me? Like, should I not keep going? Whatever. And putting this book out has taught me that it's just fucking getting started.
It's only scratching the surface.
Damn right. And I believe that 1,000%.
And I love that. I love that. All right. Well, let's wrap it up here. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. If you haven't copped the Jungle Diaries, make sure you guys click on the link. It's in the description of this episode. It is also on Amazon.
Yes.
And he's actually in Lawrence for the week. So by the time this drops, he'll probably be here for a few more days. So you can also hit him up and maybe he'll just...
I got copies on me. What's up? I can do them for you. Amazon.com. Let's get it.
But Grainy Days Studios is in the building. Shout out to them. Shout out to Giovanni for a live studio audience and opening that container mid-episode. I love that.
He did that. He gave us some ambiance.
I love that. My name is Rue Zalez and I'm blasting off.
I am Angel Gomez, and follow me. You're going to have all those
Oh, yes. Up. What is your social media? Sorry. What is your social media?
He is Angel07. He is Angel07 because was taken. So
you are what?
He is Angel07.
But 07 means
so
you're on your own.
Huh?
Because like in like the Vogue scene, like 007 is like you're a free agent.
It's not double.
I know. But I thought it was a play
just
on
to
that.
give you a little context, I was born in 7 meses, so I'm 7 mesino. I wasn't born on the full 9 months, so that's why the number 7 is very.
Oh wow.
On August 17th.
See, that's what you should have said in the beginning. Okay.
Sorry.
All right, y'all. Let's wrap this up. I will see you guys. Bye. Have a happy holiday.
Happy holidays.